Hi there guys, Adam here from The Beard Solution, back with another video, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about extra strength minoxidil and what that actually means. So without further ado, let's get into it.
All these rappers faking, I tell them tuck your chain in, cause when my youngest came in, I swear they had them skating.
So guys, as you can see, just got back from the gym. I'm going to try and make this video as quick as possible, but I wanted to address a comment that I received on my last video talking about how all brands are the same and how I'm probably wrong about that. So I obviously always advocate that any brand of 5% minoxidil work as good as any other 5% minoxidil. As long as it doesn't have DHT blockers in it, they're all going to work just as well as each other, okay? Now, this person was saying that I was probably wrong because Kirkland minoxidil and equate minoxidil have the terms extra strength on it, and that's a term that marketers use when there is more of an active ingredient in a product than the standard version. Okay, so their presumption at that point was that the standard version is 5%, which is wrong, which I'll get into in a moment. But let me just explain the logic here for a second of why that can't be. Okay, if the active ingredient is minoxidil, if one brand had more minoxidil than another, then there wouldn't be 5% and 5% because you can't have more 5% than another 5%. Okay, 5% is 5%. I can't stress that enough. The reason why it has the term extra strength on these bottles is because originally minoxidil was sold in a 2% over-the-counter bottle. Okay, that's all you could get. And it was only around about 10 years later, in the late 90s, I believe, where they actually released the 5% over the counter so that you could purchase it. And that 5% had more minoxidil in it than the 2%, obviously, because it's a 5% concentration. And therefore, it was an extra strength version of the 2%, which is the original standard version. And therefore, those brands that have the term extra strength in them are just, in fact, 5%. They're stronger than the 2%, therefore they are extra strength in comparison to the standard version. Now, this person obviously didn't really read my comment, so I got a bit annoyed when I responded back to them and they called me arrogant for that and pointed out just because I have 10,000 subscribers, don't think I could be so arrogant. Not being arrogant, I just find it very frustrating when I've explained the reason to you and you just follow up with a link, okay? They kind of tried to do a gotcha moment and was like, well, if all brands work the same, why have you used loads of different brands then?
Gotcha, bitch!
Well, it's a good point. It's a good challenge, but I'll explain why, and I explained it to them. Funnily enough, they didn't decide to reply to me after that, but there's a good reason as to why I've used loads of different brands, okay? There's many different reasons. The first is cost. So some brands of minoxidil are cheaper than others, and if I find a deal on, I'm going to get the cheaper deal because all brands work the same. Okay, now the other reason is for credibility reasons. Now, I make a YouTube channel where I talk about applying something to my face to grow a beard. This particular niche of people trying to grow their beards and whatnot, from oils and everything like that, is full of scams. And there's nothing that, you know, looks worse, in my opinion, than somebody who promotes or seems to promote one particular brand of something, because then I start asking questions, okay, what's their connection with these particular brands, which is a very natural reaction to have, despite the fact that obviously pharmaceutical companies couldn't sponsor us even if we wanted them to give us free minoxidil or pay us or whatever. But that's another reason why I use loads of different brands. Another reason why I use loads of different brands is because I want to point out that it really doesn't matter what brand you use, which is why I've used loads of different brands to show it really doesn't matter what brand you use. And also, finally, sometimes minoxidil has been bought for me by my family, things like Christmas and whatnot. And so they've kind of had a hand in picking the brand, so I didn't pick it. So that's why I've used so many different brands, okay? It's not because one brand is better than another. Obviously, there was a point where I switched to 10%. And what I can say about 10% is that some of the solutions are slightly different. They will work exactly the same, but, you know, 2-Gain, for example, I found much more greasy than Mintop. That's just my opinion. But that doesn't make 2-Gain more effective than Mintop. And that's the difference, okay? If we're talking about effectiveness, if you've got a minoxidil bottle of a concentration of 5%, it will work as well as any other bottle of 5%. You just want to try and avoid DHT blockers. I don't think I can make it any more clear than that. I know that a lot of this is going to be information you guys already know, but hopefully for some of you, it's going to make you think twice before just buying something because it says extra strength on it, okay? If you look into the history of minoxidil, as I've told you today, you will see why. Anyway, guys, thanks very much for watching. I hope that you found it helpful, and I'll see you guys again next time.
Started popping rappers, Tom started confiscating. Your niggas still trying to make a rep and get some ratings. On the man are new to this, these man are on some late ting. I was 17 with a crop in a basement. Things that I seen and done.